Hi, thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm a faculty member here. Let me say, I think you probably all know that I've tried to reach the board privately so that I could discuss what I believe I know has taken place on this campus with you, not in a public forum, and that has come to nothing, so I find myself talking to you here. I also know people who know you all personally, and I'm told and I believe that you are all well-intentioned and that you have the best interests of the institution at heart. And the problem is that knowing that about you and knowing what I do about what's taken place here, I'm forced to conclude that you must not fully understand what has happened, because if you did fully understand what has happened, you would be forced to act in the interest of Evergreen. So in that light, I want to just simply pose some questions to you about things that I think you need to know that perhaps you don't. Do you know that the college descended into literal anarchy, and that for days the campus was not under the control of the state? It was under the control of protesters. That there were assaults, there were batteries, there was pressure not to report crimes to the police. People were, by the legal definition, I believe, kidnapped and imprisoned. That included faculty members and administrators. Others were hunted on the campus. That lawless bands roamed the campus unimpeded. Police were physically and intentionally blocked by protesters. Police were cruelly, systematically, and personally taunted. They were humiliated and forced to stand down by the president. Students that held different opinions were, by the protesters' own analysis, stalked, harassed, and doxxed, meaning that their names, pictures, and addresses and phone numbers were distributed online. Do you know that concessions made under intimidation and threat during the protest are now being enacted by the college? That includes mandatory bias training for all faculty. This has come about by an agreement between the faculty union, the administration, and protesters. It was not discussed with the faculty. The student code of conduct is now being revised in response to demands by those in violation of that very code. Do you know that although the code of conduct is supposed to protect all of us, that Dr. Bridges decided to selectively suspend it, giving some students license to threaten others based on their participation in the protest? Do you know that the Equity Council, only 25% of which are active faculty, exceeded its charge by proposing a revamp of our college hiring process, that it sought to force the college's acceptance of its sweeping proposal, that it constructed the proposal to limit faculty autonomy, this is by the admission of members of the council within a faculty meeting, and that it wished to avoid discussion with the faculty. That was also admitted in a faculty meeting by a member of the council. Do you know that we as a faculty never discussed the equity proposal? That was despite the clear hazard it poses to the college's ability to remain solvent. Do you know that the equity proposal is predicated on a quantitative analysis that finds equity gaps, but the analysis cannot withstand scrutiny and would likely be considered fraud if presented in a scientific paper? That it was challenged internally and that critics were silenced? Did you say my time is up? That the flawed analysis makes the remedies that have been proposed effectively permanent, and that the council knows this, one of its chairs having said during the rollout that equity at Evergreen cannot be achieved. It must be perpetually pursued. I guess my time's up. Sure.